Imagine living in a world without the internet. No social media to keep in touch with friends, no YouTube to watch your favorite videos, and no Google to help you find answers in seconds. It sounds impossible, right? But believe it or not, there was a time when the internet didn't exist at all. Today, I want to take you on a journey back in time to explore how the internet was born. It's a fascinating story of science, curiosity, and creativity. And it all started in the 1960s, long before most of us were even born. To begin, let's think about a world before the internet. How did people communicate? How did they share information? Well, back then, people used phones, letters, and newspapers to connect with each other. But as the world grew more complex, scientists realized they needed a better way to share information quickly, especially when it came to things like research and business. In the 1960s, computers were big, expensive, and very slow. They were also isolated from one another, which meant you couldn't easily share data between computers. But some smart people started to ask, what if we could connect computers together? What if we could share information across long distances, just like we share information in a room? This is where the story of the internet begins. One of the first people to think about connecting computers was a man named Paul Baran. He was a researcher working on a project for the U.S. government during the Cold War. The government needed a way to communicate in case of an emergency, like if their communication lines were destroyed in a war. Baran came up with the idea of a packet-switched network, which would break up information into smaller pieces and send it along different routes. This way, even if some of the routes were destroyed, the information could still arrive at its destination. At the same time, another scientist named Donald Davies in the United Kingdom was thinking about a similar idea. Both of these researchers were working on the idea of sending information in small packets, which could then be reassembled on the other side. This concept would later become one of the fundamental building blocks of the internet. Fast forward to 1969. The U.S. Department of Defense created a project called ARPANET, which is often considered the first version of the internet. ARPANET used the packet-switching technology that Paul Baran and Donald Davies had developed. The goal was to connect different computers in universities and government offices so they could share research data. At first, ARPANET only connected 4 universities: UCLA, Stanford, UC Santa Barbara, and the University of Utah. Can you imagine? Just 4 locations, but it was the beginning of something huge. Now you might be thinking, okay, that's interesting, but how did we get from ARPANET to the internet we use today? That's a great question. ARPANET kept growing, and by the 1980s, more and more universities and research institutions were joining the network. But it wasn't until the 1990s that things really started to change. In 1991, a man named Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, invented something that would completely change the internet forever: the World Wide Web, or the web for short. The web made it easier to share and access information using websites, which could contain text, pictures, and links. This was the beginning of the internet as we know it today. Before the web, using the internet was difficult. You needed special software and had to know how to read code to navigate. But with the web, anyone could create a website, and anyone could visit it. The World Wide Web made the internet more user-friendly, and suddenly the internet became accessible to millions of people, not just scientists and researchers. Now I want you to think about this. The internet went from connecting 4 universities in 1969 to reaching billions of people around the world today. It's changed the way we learn, work, and even have fun. It's hard to imagine life without it. But here's something interesting. The internet didn't just grow because of one person or one idea. It took many people working together, sharing their ideas, and solving problems. The internet is a product of teamwork, creativity, and the desire to make life easier and more connected. And that's something we should all remember. So, what can we learn from the story of the internet? First, we learn that even the biggest changes start with small ideas. Paul Baran and Donald Davies were just thinking about ways to send information more efficiently. Tim Berners-Lee was just trying to make the internet easier to use. But all of these small ideas came together to create something that has changed the world. Second, we learned that progress takes time. The internet didn't happen overnight. It took years of research, testing, and improvement to get to where we are today. And the internet continues to evolve, with new technologies like 5G, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence changing the way we connect and communicate. Finally, we learn the importance of collaboration. The internet is a product of many people working together, from scientists and engineers to entrepreneurs and designers. Today we have the internet because people shared their knowledge, built on each other's ideas, and worked towards a common goal. The internet has become such an important part of our lives that it's easy to forget how it all started. But when we stop and think about it, we realize that the internet is a testament to the power of ideas, creativity, and teamwork. It's a tool that allows us to connect with others, learn new things, and explore the world in ways that were once impossible. As we look to the future, who knows what new ideas and technologies will shape the internet in the years to come? The story of the internet is far from over, and it's up to us to continue the journey. As Tim Berners-Lee once said, "The web does not just connect machines, it connects people." Thank you.